The Hodgepodge Boys, written by Ellie Stewart. Exterior Suburban Street, day. Slow pan up on a prosthetic leg belonging to Theo, 13, rushing by on his skateboard. He propels himself with his left leg and stands on the board with his right, a prosthetic from the knee down. He carries a crossbody bag full of newspapers and wears cargo shorts and a t-shirt featuring a coyote howling at the moon. The only part of the outfit that doesn't scream hand-me-downs are his shiny blue headphones. Theo speeds past the perfectly maintained lawns and falsely cheerful exteriors of middle-class homes like he has something to prove. He barely slows down to throw a paper onto a porch as he passes it. Theo, speaking into the mic of his headphones.
No, you tell them you're at my place, and I'll tell them I'm at Shane's. Dude, calm down, it's not that complicated.
He hits a bump and takes a tumble off of his skateboard. The shiny blue plastic of his headphones shatters on the ground.
Ugh, motherfucking fuck!
A jogger rushes over to help Theo. He leans down and puts a caring hand on Theo's shoulder.
Are you okay? Do you need any help?
Theo looks up at the jogger and observes the all-too-familiar look of pity in his eyes. He shrugs off the helping hand.
Help? Why would I need your help?
The jogger backs off and scoffs at Theo, then jogs away. Theo winces as he pulls out a shard of plastic lodged in his right upper thigh above his prosthetic. He tests its sharpness with the tip of his finger, then punctures his left thigh in the same spot as his right. He sits mesmerized by the beads of blood slowly forming on the matching wounds. The sound of laughter causes Theo to look across the street to see Shane, a rough-looking boy, slightly larger than Theo, with a burn scar covering his entire right arm. Shane sits on his bike, also carrying a crossbody paper bag. He laughs at the gif he just captured of Theo recovering from his fall.
Nice one, phony hawk.
Theo brushes himself off, puts the plastic shard in his pocket, and wheels away.
See you tonight, asshole.
Exterior Roses Street, day. Theo's paper bag is nearly empty now. He stops in front of a quaint bungalow with a red door. The front yard is lined with honeysuckle bushes, and a beautiful flower garden takes up almost the entire yard. A vast collection of wind chimes and garden adornments sing in the breeze, creating a cacophony of pleasant noise. A woman in her 40s sits on the porch cross-stitching. She wears an old knit sweater that has been patched up by hand, and her long dark hair is tied back in an intricate French braid. Theo kicks up his skateboard and grabs the shard of plastic from his pocket. He walks up to the porch.
Your paper?
Rose smiles and takes it from him.
And,
He holds out the piece of plastic. Rose smiles tenderly at Theo and takes it.
Oh, this will just be perfect for the eyes.
Cut to interior Rose's house, day. Theo stands before a gigantic mural. It's a mosaic made from bits and pieces of recycled glass, plastic, and ceramics. It depicts a young boy, near Theo's age, laying in a bed of flowers. The morning sun hits the glass and the portrait glistens. Theo stands in awe of the artwork, basking in its glory. Rose rummages through drawers in the adjacent kitchen. Theo's eyes wander cautiously to the back window. He stares into the backyard. Compared to the front of Rose's home, it's in shambles, overgrown weeds and piles of dirt where a lawn should be. Theo catches a glimpse of something strange in the yard, a wooden cross stuck in the dirt. The wind chimes outside turn from pleasant to menacing. He leans in to get a better look. Rose emerges from the kitchen with Band-Aids for Theo in one hand and super glue in the other.
Just 1 or 2 more pieces and it'll be finished.
Exterior Suburban Street, night. 3 boys make their way down a boulevard, lit by street lamps. In the middle is Theo, propelling himself on his skateboard. To his right is Shane, who pedals his bike lazily. The handle end of a shovel sticks out awkwardly from his red backpack. To Theo's left is Amir, a slight boy with Coke bottle glasses. Amir's left eye tends to wander now and again. He keeps up with the other boys on foot, panting as he jogs alongside them. Amir records his friends with an old camcorder.
I would like to have it on record that Theo wants to fuck Freddy Krueger.
My other choices were Godzilla and the Blob. Who would you have chosen?
The Blob, any day.
Amir mimes receiving a blowjob from the Blob, accompanied by gelatinous sound effects and moans of pleasure.
Dude, the blob would literally turn your dick to slime. That's a terrible choice.
Yeah, and at least Freddy is into kids. He'd probably buy me some Legos before tearing me to shreds.
That's messed up.
Amir points his camera at Shane.
Okay, Shane, what are your picks?
I guess I would marry Godzilla, kill Freddy Krueger, and fuck Amir's mom.
Amir stops recording and drops his camera. Theo and Shane laugh. Amir is visibly tired from keeping up with the boys on foot.
Can we slow down for a sec? I need to catch my breath.
Sure, dude.
Theo and Shane give each other a smirk and then both speed away from Amir, leaving him way behind.
Guys, wait up!
Exterior, Rose's house, night. Theo and Shane stop. A few seconds pass before Amir joins them, completely out of breath. They stand across the street from Rose's house, staring silently ahead, all trying to mask the fear that has just overcome them.
Are you sure this isn't a terrible idea?
Hide your bike behind this tree.
Shane obeys and props his bike up against the tree. He then drops his backpack next to the bike and grabs the shovel.
Whatever's back there has probably decomposed by now, right?
Not the bones.
You'll probably have to dig pretty deep. Just keep going until you hit something.
What? No way, dude. I'm not digging.
This whole thing was your idea.
Well, it's your shovel.
Fine, you friggin' baby.
My mom said she buried him at the cemetery near the school.
I heard the mower took everything but his head.
Amir looks sick.
You two aren't about to back out, are you? The lady practically sniffs glue all day long. She's dead asleep by now, I guarantee it.
Shane and Amir gather their courage. They stare at Theo, hanging on every word he says.
She's hiding something. I know it. We're gonna find out what.
Exterior, Rose's house, later. The three boys, with Theo in front, crawl through Rose's honeysuckle bushes, silently complaining the whole way. When they reach the wooden backyard fence, Theo tosses his skateboard over, then begins to climb.
Boost me.
They do. Theo flies over the fence and hits the ground hard.
Ah, Jesus Christ!
Amir and Shane look at each other in fear.
Are you okay?
I just fell on some thorns. When you guys come over, aim a little more to the left.
The boys crawl over, each hitting the ground hard on the other side of the fence. They brush themselves off, then look around to gather their surroundings. Amir spots the wooden cross at the back of the yard.
There it is.
Shane runs over, shovel in hand, and Amir follows hesitantly from behind, recording Shane as he starts to dig. Theo hangs back.
Try to be quiet. I'll keep watch.
Shane continues to dig. Shane throws his shovel aside and reaches into the dirt with his hands.
I think I found something.
Shane picks up an item from the ground and dusts off the dirt. It's the disembodied head of a Cabbage Patch Kid. Shane looks confused. Amir looks up from his camcorder and notices too late Rose approaching Shane from behind. She wears a silk robe that reflects the moonlight and carries an axe. Close enough to strike, Rose lifts the axe above her head and brings it down onto Shane's skull, burying the weapon in his head. Shane's face is cracked in half. Blood begins to pour out and trickles down his dumbfounded expression. Amir screams. Theo stands frozen in silence, having witnessed it all from across the yard. Amir looks to Theo for help, but something isn't right. Amir, in a panic, gets up and begins to run towards Theo. Rose does not follow. She simply stands and watches as Theo picks up his skateboard and smashes it into Amir's forehead with full force, knocking him to the ground in a single blow. Amir lays on the ground, unconscious, blood pouring out of his mangled face, his glasses smashed to pieces. Rose and Theo lock eyes. POV, Amir's camcorder pointed towards the sky. Theo walks into frame, looks directly into the lens, and stomps on the camera, destroying it. Interior, Rose's house, dawn. Rose and Theo sit at the kitchen table, pleasantly sipping tea. Theo dips a biscuit in his and rejoices in the delicious bite. Across from Theo, with a teacup of its own, sits Rose's greatest creation, a human body, a young boy about Theo's age. He is composed of many body parts recycled from other boys and stitched together carefully. The joints and limbs so seamlessly joined together, They reveal the work of a true artist. Amir's nimble hands, Shane's strong torso. His face resembles the boy from Rose's mural. Rose strokes his cheek and smiles. Slow pan down beneath the table. Theo's left leg, the one still intact, is at the foreground. Sitting across from him is its mirror image, his missing part. Cut to black.